You know, one of the most difficult things to do with the Word of God is to wake the sleeping. These are the ones that have heard it all before. Now, when you attempt to keep moving them, they'll respond by saying, I'm awake already. Many people won't receive this. They will think that you're condemning them, that you're telling them that they're away from God. I'm not saying this. I'm saying you can be right next to God and be fast asleep. It is your awareness that doesn't exist. What the Father wants and what directions you're going in, or even what His voice sounds like. But most importantly, your awareness to His words, His instructions. Your vessel has been emptied of its power, or that oil that lights your lamp. In the parable of Matthew 25:2, there was only a 50-50 chance of you being prepared to be received by Him. 5 of them were wise and 5 were foolish. In Matthew 25:5 it says, While the bridegroom tarried away, they all slumbered and slept. Now all of them had peace and confidence of slumber, yet only half of them prepared. Foolish means they had no idea. Matthew 25:9. But the wise answered and said, Get your own, in case there's not enough for both. But go to them that sell and buy for yourself. Now we learn 2 things from this verse. You cannot share being prepared, and anything you can buy at the last minute will not get you in the door. And then confidence rather than preparedness gets you this kind of answer. Matthew 25:12. But he answered and said to them, I know you not. The problem was not that they slept. It was their false sense of security that was allowing them to sleep. And this is a problem. When you believe everything is covered, you'll always wake to the reality. That is that you do not yet know everything. This is the space that the enemy operates in. The question to ask is, how much do you know about God's will for you? And what do you know about the enemy and how clever he is? If your answer is not much about both, then you are open for a lot of confusion, and your confidence becomes self-inflicted. Matthew 13:25 says, But while the men slept, his enemy came in and sowed tares among the wheat, and went away. Remember, sleep is not the problem. The lack of awareness and preparation leaves a big gap that makes you appear like you're sleeping on the job. And if you're not going to question yourself and your awareness, you begin to question your Father's awareness. Matthew 13:27. So the servants came and said to him, Sir, didn't you sow good seed in the field? And where did these tares come from? Now these men were good laborers, but without love. They were willing to clean up the mess, but didn't love enough to keep this from happening. Matthew 13:28. He says to them, The enemy has done this. You know, the servants said to him, Should we go clean this up? But only the Father considered the damage to others and says no. This is how the love of God responds always, considering others first. It's the kind of love that falls asleep in us. And when our love falls asleep, all things do become labor. When you're in love, you can explain that love to others. But when it's just labor, it's difficult to explain. It says your eyes become dissatisfied with seeing, nor ears filled with hearing. Without love, nobody wants to hear it. Without love, your eyes become dissatisfied and you close them. And this is the sleep that you need to awake from. 1 Corinthians 15:34 says, Awake to righteousness and sin not. For some have not the knowledge of God. I speak this to their shame. The knowledge you will have of the Father is received by the love you have for His Son. If you don't have this knowledge, it is a shame. You know, Genesis 4:1 says Adam knew Eve his wife and conceived. Jeremiah 1:5 says, "Before I formed you in the belly, I knew you." Ephesians 3:19 says, "And to know the love of Christ, which passes all knowledge." You see, it is your love that passes knowledge. Without it, you are just sleepwalking in a false sense of security. Luke 21:28 says, "The time is now to awake." Proverbs 6:9 asks, "How long will you sleep, O sluggard? When will you rise out of your sleep?" If your answer is, "I'm not ready yet," then you gave the same answer that the 5 out of the 10 virgins gave to the Lord. That means half of them were not received by Him. Now, of the 5 of these, He tells them in Matthew 25:12, "But He answered and said, Verily I said to you, I know you not." This is what happens. When you allow your love to sleep, there is only a 50-50 chance that you will be received. It is the lack of knowledge of the love of His Son that causes sleep. So I say, love His Son and awake. If you're a prodigal son and left the Father's house, you took with you your heart, and you are only doing labor. You are no longer walking in His presence or receiving instruction. And the only labor He'd like from you now is that you would return to Him, that He would complete the work that He had begun in you, and that you could form that love relationship once again, that He could call you son. This is food that I provided to my family for years. I want to now provide it to you. I hope you'll share it with a friend. If you like it, I'll provide more. Thank you for listening, and God bless you.